Our bones dust is a reading must, and that's a review that you can trust. And if you think Our bones dust just sucks, then you're wrong. Your brain's not working. You're not even real. Well, I was only going to wear the hat during the intro, but I think I'll like it, so I'm keeping it. So here's the thing. I'm a naturally critical person. I just really like complaining. I wake up in the morning and I want to complain. But this comic, I couldn't find anything to complain about. Oh well. It's created, written, and drawn by Stenbeck, who's worked on a lot of Hellboy properties over the years. He's worked very closely with Mike Mignola on the whole Hellboy universe. And I am woefully undereducated on the Hellboy universe. I know that it's great, I just have been reading other things, and I'll get there. But this is Stenbeck's first time writing and drawing his own story, and it is a great first story. Basically, the premise is that the world ended, we don't know how long ago, but everything is a giant wasteland. There's tribes of people living in various areas, and they're pretty much all cannibalistic, and they're hunting each other down and trading things, and it's, you know, and honestly, that's nothing new. But what makes it really cool is that there's also these alien/AI characters that are really fun to listen to, and they go around documenting things on Earth, and eventually they're going to leave and go to some other planet. But for now, one of the two aliens is really interested in what he's finding on Earth, so they're still there, just poking around. And not to minimize the rest of the book, because the whole thing is beautiful, but every time those aliens show up, it's the best part. Especially when the one alien guy in the beginning is pulling up bits of Earth in this cool jigsaw pattern, and he's just examining all the stuff that's in the dirt and whatnot, and then he just sets it all back down as if nothing ever happened. It's really pleasing to look at. It's super interesting. He's got such a nonchalant behavior about it, but he's also got some character to him. And then later in the issue, he uses his weird alien telekinesis to like pull a bunch of junk out of a tar pit, and he finds an iPod and turns it on with his magic ET finger, and he starts listening to music, and he's just wandering around the wasteland, singing to himself, enjoying what's left of humanity. Oh, and then we get this part with the plant growing out of the human skull, and that's just a gorgeous little, it feels like WALL-E mixed with an actual dark apocalypse mixed with cool science, and it's just overall a really fresh vibe. It's a great aesthetic. It's really fun to look at. It's really fun to read. So anyway, the alien characters are awesome. But the rest of the book is also really good because the world building here is so well done and so thought through and so believable and professional. Even Frank Quitely, who is like top tier comic artist, praised this comic for having good world building. So it's not just my opinion, it's Frank Quitely's opinion. The world building in this issue is stellar. And one of the reasons the world building is so convincing is because there's just a lot of attention to detail. The way that people walk, the way that people look, these weird growths that they have on their heads, the way that they speak to each other in their own kind of broken English, the way the buildings have broken down, the specific kinds of ruins that we see, the random pieces of garbage that these people have. I don't know what's going on with this Mr. Death thing, but it's kind of cool, I think. One of the really cool world-building details in this story is this character's headdress made of license plates. That's so cool. It looks like it's kind of like Mayan, but it's also like Americana. Just look at the detail on this character. This is great world building right there. Great character building, great world building. It's great. And the art in general is just beautiful. It's simple, but it's not too simple to be uninteresting. It has all the right details to make you interested, but not overwhelm you. And I know that Stenbeck at some point mentioned that his art style in this was going to be a little bit different than his normal art style. And if I had read more Hellboy stuff, I would know what the differences were. My bad. But honestly, this art style is great. It kind of reminds me of Kevin Walker. He did a lot of work on Invincible. And it also, the kind of line work that he's using in this book, combined with the color palette that we have from Dave Stewart, who's doing excellent colors in this book, kind of reminds me of Manhattan Projects. If you're familiar with Manhattan Projects, or you're familiar with Umbrella Academy and you liked either of these, this art style is very similar. I think you would like it if you liked these. So anyway, I could talk about how great the art is all day, but honestly, you should just read it. The plot is interesting. It's simple, but it's interesting. And honestly, the simpler the plot is, the better. There's this kid that's running across the apocalyptic wasteland, just trying to survive, just like everybody else. But then everybody else decides they want to hunt down this kid. So you've got like this band of angry cannibals chasing the kid down. And then this alien is kind of concerned for the kid. So the alien is also following the whole group. And then at the very end, you get this like hooded, gross insect, creepy figure guy also hunting everybody down, and it's just everybody chasing this kid. And the kid's got this dope axe too too. I don't know what the value of having an axe with a giant notch in it is, but it looks pretty cool. And we only get this one panel of the super creepy bug guy who's wearing like faces as a cloak. Ugh, very jeepers creepers of him. And that last panel kind of reminds me of that last panel in whatever issue of Bone it was where they introduced the Lord of Locusts, and he's like lurking in the trees, just being menacing in his cloak, speaking in a gross voice. It feels pretty similar to that. And I love Bone. Bone is the greatest comic of all time. So if it's taking any influence from Bone, I'm happy. So there's only going to be 4 issues of this, which feels a little bit short to me. I wish the industry could support longer runs, because I'm just sick of 4-issue or 5-issue miniseries. But I think if anybody can pull off a really good self-contained story in 4 issues that's believable and heartfelt and interesting, it's going to be Ben Stenbeck. And I think this series is going to be great. So honestly, it's only going to be, what, $16 by the time it's done? You should go buy it. Go support your local comic shop. Buy this from the comic shop. Get it in second printing. Let's support these artists. Let's support the industry that's dying more and more every day. You know you want to buy it. It looks so good in a picture frame on your wall. So the only reason that I'm not going to give it a 10 out of 10 is because I feel like I've been a little bit too lenient with my 10 out of 10s. I feel like I should save it for something really, really, really special, you know? Like, this is a great comic, but it's possible that I'd like something more. So maybe, as long as it's possible that there's something I could like more, we should just call it a 9 out of 10. So this is a 9 out of 10, just because it doesn't cater to me personally as much as it possibly could, I guess. You might think it's a 10 out of 10. You should go buy it. Have you already bought it? What'd you think? Today's question comes from, oh, look at that, Kevin Feige. And he wants to know, would you like to write the screenplay for the greatest X-Men character of all time, Longshot? Well, as a matter of fact, I would not mind doing that. Longshot is the greatest X-Man of all time. Thanks for asking, Kevin.